Evening, everybody. Well, tonight we're going to take a look at solving quadratics by graphing. We're just going to take a quick look at how to graph again, and then take a look at where we look on the graph to find the solutions to a quadratic. Pretty straightforward, just a little extra practice. Make sure you have your notebooks ready, and we'll get started. Okay, well, I'm going to borrow this Khan Academy graphing, but we're going to graph using this particular equation over here. And so here we have y equals 2x squared minus 2. So a couple of things that we should know is we should be able to pick out some points very quickly. I know x and y. I know that my y-intercept is 0, negative 2. I know that my axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. So I'm looking at an axis of symmetry where my b is 0. So I know that my axis of symmetry is at 0. So in this particular case, it's also going to be my y-intercept. And then I can pick a couple of points. Now obviously with a calculator that's pretty straightforward. We can also do that ourselves. So I'm going to pick negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1 times 2 minus 2. So I get an answer of 0. I can do the same with 1. 1 squared is 1 times 2 minus 2 is also 0. So now I have 3 points, which I now know I can graph. I can come up here and I go to 0, negative 2. I go to 1, 0. And I'm taking a look here, negative 1, 0. And so when we're graphing for solutions, we're taking a look at what number is my x value when y equals 0. So as you can see here, my x value when y equals 0 is negative 1 and positive 1. And as we just proved by finding the table, when we plug those into our equation, negative 1 creates an equation where y equals 0, and positive 1 creates an equation where y equals 0. And that's all we need to do. Let's do one more quick example, and then we'll do a word problem, and then we'll be done for the night. That's how easy it is. So let me just erase this. Okay, so here we have negative x squared minus 4x minus 4. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our axis of symmetry, which is 4 over negative 2, which is negative 2. So I know that my axis of symmetry is at negative 2, so that's a good point to have. And if I go into my table, I will find that my negative 2, 0. Okay, and then I'm going to pick a couple more points. So let's see here. I know that my y-intercept is at 0, negative 4, which means I can come over to here and start graphing. I'm at negative 2, 0. Let's see if I can move this over there. Okay, come on. There we go. And I know that I'm at 0, negative 4. And then I'm looking here. I'm 2 across from negative 2 to negative 4. So I'm going to go to 2 past to negative 2, negative 4, negative 4. I think I need to move that over just slightly more. Sorry. Okay. All right. So as you can see, again, by the time we're done graphing, we can usually find the solution. My solution here is where y equals 0. I only have one solution. My solution here is negative 2. And we can see that the graph occurs right at y equals 0, x equals negative 2. And that's all we have to do. And we have plenty of time to practice graphing in class. These were two very easy examples. I have one more example for you to take a look at. Okay, so here we have a dolphin jumps out of the water. Its height can be modeled by the equation f of x equals negative 16x squared plus 32x. when will it be at 16 feet? Well, up to this point, I've been telling you to look into the calculator and look where the answer says y equals 16 feet. But let's go a little further here. We know that we're looking for when it's at 16 feet. So we know that we're looking for 16 is the answer, negative 16x squared plus 32x. Now we're going to solve all of our equations by making it 0 equals. So we're going to subtract 16 from both sides. And now I have 0 equals negative 16x squared plus 32x minus 16. And so we can just do a very quick graph here. I know that my y-intercept is at 0, comma, negative 16. I know my graph is going to open up, something like this. Okay? And I'm just guessing that I have one solution at this point. Okay? I know that it opens up because that's negative. I know that it starts here because this is negative 16. I then do negative b over 2a, which means that my axis of symmetry is at x equals 1. Okay, so now I know that this is 1 comma something. And then we're going to continue to graph just to see what that point is. Negative 16 times 1 squared is 1, plus 32 times 1 minus 16. So I have minus 16 plus 32 minus 16. That's going to equal 0. So I know that this point is 1 comma 0. So when will a dolphin be at 16 feet? A dolphin will be at 16 feet after 1 second. I also know that's the only time, because in this particular graph we have how many solutions? One solution, and the solution is at when x equals 1. Like I said, we'll have plenty of time to do more of that, but there is an example for you of how we can solve a word problem, setting it up where my equation is now 0 equals the final equation, solving for when my y equals 0, and then looking at the solutions. This quite easily could have done this, and we would have 2 solutions, which would have meant the dolphin was at that height twice, or the graph could have come something like this, which means that the dolphin never achieved the height of 16 feet. Okay, well, I will see you tomorrow, and make sure that you have your notes so you're prepared to get started when you come into class. Good night.